real personal reaction to him, and I do think it can only have a negative effect. The problem is he feeds back into it with his own invective, and then you get a new generation raised in an atmosphere where there are no adults in the room.
All right, now, throughout our history, we've had presidents that did fight back, like Mr. Trump, Andrew Jackson being the most notable. But there were, presidents like Grover Cleveland and people like that who did that kind of thing. But now the mass media and social media, all right, transports every tweet, every insult by not only the president, but those attacking president right into everybody's computer and machine. And so that I think this is going to poison reasonable discourse going forward. And there's no coming back from it. Pretty black view, but I think that's what's in play.
I'm not so sure. I think people do come back. The Reagan years were pretty bad. The problem is that he was so amiable. It was Clark Clifford. Clifford was the Democratic wise man who coined the inimitable phrase that Reagan was an amiable dunce. You couldn't hate Reagan. You could think he was wild, he was a fascist or whatever, he's going to get us into World War. But it was hard to hate him. But after a lot of invective against him, you had the Bush senior years. They were fairly quiet. The Clinton years were pretty rough. I mean, the guy was impeached after all. And, it went a long way. So I think we've had some pretty rough politics.
But the media didn't serve up the attacks on Clinton. They came from primarily political sources.
The media were as hard on them as any Democrat. The media,
but it wasn't a personal thing. I mean, you remember the mantra, and that was promoted by the media as well, the big city media anyway, that it's only about sex. All right, that's all. You guys are making a big deal out of it. You got to ignore it. This came from the liberal media. They pushed it. And now what you have is every single day, Trump is this, Trump is that. And high school kids in particular, I think that, college kids, they don't pay attention. But high school kids, they hear this stuff. And you saw it last week here in New York City. I don't know whether you saw Waters' report when these kids went out of class to protest. And then we caught up with them, and they didn't know what they were protesting against. They were just yelling ridiculous slogans. They had no idea what they were saying.
But that worries me less than anything else. I mean, high school students who have no idea what's going on. It's like the Occupy Wall Street people. You'd interview them. They had no idea why they were there. It was fashionable. The first blast of a cold winter wind, and they were gone and scattered. I'm not sure that matters. Also, young people, they do grow up. It takes a little bit of time.
Some of them.
But, well, the 18-year-olds become 35-year-olds with 2 kids and a mortgage, and they stop acting like snowflake idiots. So I'm not so sure that's a permanent phenomenon. And I do think, I'm not going to let you off the hook here, Trump contributes to this by giving back in his own way. Lying,
well, that's crooked, what got him there, though,
crooked.
Charles.
It might have gotten him there, but that makes it worse.
The White House.
But that makes it worse. Then he got a positive incentive to go ahead and do this. He will be imitated by others after he comes and goes. That's what I think is going to hurt.
But it's hard. All right, look, I'm not justifying any ad hominem, that's to the man, attacks on anybody. All right, we don't do that here. It's all fact-based here. But I don't know, in this vicious climate, all right, I think Trump's got to fight back. Now, whether he does it in another way, maybe they should have a big meeting there and say, look, we might be able to do this more effectively. Last word.
Yeah, they got to take away the Twitter machine.
I know.
That's the Trump id speaking, and he's strong enough. He's got enough subordinates who can carry the fight. He needs to be above the fray.
A little bit more. I agree with that.
I don't think he'll ever do it. That's not his nature, but that's his problem.
If success starts to roll in, he might. If failure rolls in, he won't. Charles Krauthammer, everybody, playing more heads. The Factor moves along this evening. The radical left continuing to bring up the Nazi Party as mentioned in relation to the Trump administration. Britt Hume has some thoughts on that. And Waters talking global warming with the folks.
How many degrees has the Earth's temperature risen in the last couple of years, do you think?
I'm not a meteorologist.
I can see that.
We hope you stay tuned for those reports. Back to the follow-up segment tonight. As you may know, Nordstrom's and a few other retailers have downgraded products from Ivanka Trump, the president's daughter. Now, Sears and Kmart have stopped selling some Trump home furnishing products online. So what's behind all this? Joining us from Los Angeles, Leslie Marshall. From Washington, Katie Pavlich. I didn't even know there were Trump home products.
Now you know.
So, I mean, I'm a IKEA guy. I just, look, simple man. All right, I don't need my house to look like a palace of Louis XIV. But this is also sudden. I mean, all of a sudden Ivanka's stuff is going out the window and Trump's lamps are going into the basement. I mean, what is this?
Well, first of all, I had to fact check you and say that IKEA furniture is not simple to put together, and everyone's goal in life is to buy furniture that is put together rather than the kind you get from IKEA, but I do also like IKEA. But in terms of what's going on with the Ivanka Trump brand, it's very clear that her brand is suffering from the Grab Your Wallet campaign, which is essentially a liberal mob that doesn't just go after brands they don't like, but goes after the distributors or the retail stores that dare to sell that brand.
What's the mob? What was the name of it?
Grab Your Wallet campaign. And we see this across the board.
Campaign.
It's not good enough for liberals to just disagree. They have to destroy the livelihood of those they disagree with
so
as
Grab
well.
Your Wallet is a website? Is that a social media thing? Is that what it is?
It's a website that details all of the companies like Nordstrom, like Sears, that sell Ivanka Trump or Donald Trump products.
And for the sole purpose of telling their readers not to buy the stuff and to hurt the retailer that sells it.
Right, but there's also an adverse effect and another consequence that if these stores do decide to continue selling these products, there will be picketing outside of the stores. There will be threats. There will be customers will be intimidated into not buying these products. So it's one thing to vote with your wallet, but it's another to deny other people the choice of doing the same.
We got to find out who's in charge of this stuff so we can put their pictures up on television. Do you agree with that assessment, Leslie? Do you agree that this is a grossly undemocratic intimidation?
I don't think it's an intimidation, and I think it is extremely democratic. Although it's politically motivated, obviously, there are those that are saying, look, we lost at the ballot box, so we're going to use our wallets and our purses
so let me get this
to
straight.
win
You don't
as
think
consumers.
Threats of picketing and a disruption in a private business is intimidation?
I don't think that saying, look, I don't want to buy products with this name on it. I don't want to buy products that are made in China.
According to Katie,
I don't think that is an intimidation at all.
Leslie, listen to me. It's not what this is about. According to the website, they're going to disrupt the business if they continue carrying products they don't like. You say that's not intimidation?
I don't think that a hashtag on Twitter and a website that lists all of the companies that carry products with the Trump name, is intimidating. I think what it's doing is educating people as to where they're spending their money.
You know, education is wait, Katie. Education is supposed to present both sides of the story. All right, not a hyper-partisan point of view. That's not education. It's propaganda. Is it not, Leslie?
Well, listen, Bill, in a classroom, I would agree with you, and you know more about a classroom as a former teacher than I. You have to present both. But educating somebody or giving information on Twitter with a hashtag or at a website, that's not always going to be fair and balanced.
It sounds like it's activism to me. Go ahead, Katie.
Well, again, I want to stress, it's one thing for an individual to decide, I'm not going to spend my hard-earned money on Ivanka Trump or Donald Trump products. That's one thing. It's a whole nother aspect for this Grab Your Wallet campaign to go after the stores that dare to sell these brands. And this isn't just, isolated to Ivanka Trump or Nordstrom or these stores. We've seen this across the board. If you don't want to sell a wedding cake to a certain couple, then you're going to be destroyed financially.
Well,
if you have a political disagreement, we saw it with the Firefox CEO. If you dare stand up for something you believe in, your entire life is going to be destroyed. You'll be fired from your job. This is a leftist tactic. It's just taking a different form in the sense of
last question, real fast. Do you believe that Nordstrom's and the Sears and the other stores have caved in? This is what you believe they've caved in because of this far-left website. That's what you believe, Katie?
I think I don't necessarily think they're caving in. I think that they're seeing a result of this boycott, and I guess they would be caving in because they're responding to preventing this kind of disruption inside of their businesses.
There are just as many people who like President Trump who could buy from these stores if they were motivated. All right, ladies, good debate. Thank you. We appreciate it. We come right back. Britt Hume. On the radical left, using Nazi analogies to criticize President Trump and his supporters. Then Waters talking climate change in chilly New York City. We're coming right back.